Hey, what's up? This is Sam. This is B&S About Movies. This is a weird episode. I'm in a hotel room in Atlanta. I have been working at a trade show from like 16 or 18 hours a day. And I'm exhausted, but the drive-in's coming up this weekend. I thought, you know what, I need to do a special episode. April Ghoul's Drive-In Monsterama. It's in Vandergrift, PA at the Riverside Drive-In Theater. April 25th and 26th, 2025. If you can go this weekend, I'm going to try to get this out early enough. Go. If you can't make it, hey, you can watch these movies later on at home, but admission's only $15 a person. Children 12 and under free with an adult. Overnight camping is available. Breakfast included. Potentially Tom Savini will cook you breakfast. You can buy tickets at the show, but you know what? You should probably buy them on the website at the Riverside Drive-In Theater. The features for Friday the 25th, the first four Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Saturday the 26th, Frankenhooker, Doom Asylum, Brain Damage, Basket Case 2. Let's get into it. So upon watching Nightmare on Elm Street again for the first time in probably 30 years, I was struck by how European it feels. Perhaps it's the color tones throughout, the patina of Italian horror cinema. Both Fulci and Craven cite surrealist filmmaker Louise Buñuel as an influence. It could be the John Saxon as lead billing, or it doesn't feel like any horror cinema currently made here in the U.S. now. The real villain of this movie is not Freddy Krueger, but the parents of Elm Street, who have a lot of secrets and their assumed authority over their children to do unspeakable and unspoken things. All of them are haunted by it, divorced, depressed, self-medicating with over-dedication to their jobs or addictions. There are stories that David Warner was originally going to play Freddy, which would have been pretty awesome, but that's not true. After plenty of actors tried out and failed to win the part, it went to Robert Englund, who darkened his eyes and supposedly acted like Klaus Kinski to get the part. The other feeling I have about this movie is it owes a significant debt, as all horror movies post-'78 due to John Carpenter's Halloween. Much like that film, the true horror happens within the foliage of the suburbs, with shadow people showing up and disappearing. Much of the action on the final night happens within two houses. One of the main characters has the ultimate authority figure. A policeman as a father, and a cinematographer by Jacques Hyken glides near the characters and around them, much like the Steadicam shots that start Carpenter's film. This starts with Tina Gray, Amanda Weiss, who sets off the events of Better Off Dead into motion by breaking up with Lloyd Dobler. Remember that? Waking up from a nightmare in which a disfigured man chases her with a bladed glove. I love the way the scene looked. You can almost consider Freddy off-brand here, as his arms can grow comedically long, and he moves way faster than they would in the rest of the series. Yet by keeping him in the shadows, he's absolutely terrifying. The first thing I saw of this movie was the commercials when I was a kid of Freddy's arms growing, and I thought, what a strange thought, and it frightened me just even seeing it. When Tina awakens, her nightgown's been slashed. She's afraid to go to sleep again. She warns her friends Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, who just left Stanford University to be in this, Glenn, hey, Johnny Depp, and Rod Schuhart Garcia, credited as Nick Corey, have been having the same dream. To console Tina, they all stay at her parents' house overnight. But when Tina falls asleep, Freddy's waiting. Rod wakes up to see Tina flying over the room and up the walls. It's an astounding effect sequence then and even now when you realize it's a pre-CGI effect. And he flees the scene after her death. Soon Rod is arrested by John Saxon, playing Lieutenant Don Thompson, Nancy's father. Freddy now starts pursuing Nancy, chasing her as she falls asleep in class. Lynn Shay is the teacher there. And later in the bathtub, as his claw rises like a demented and deadly phallus between her thighs, Rod tells her how Tina died, and now she knows the same killer is definitely after her. Garcia's watery eyes and lack of focus made Langenkamp think he was acting his heart out. The truth is, he's high on heroin and for real in that scene. She tries to find the killer, Glenn watching over her, but he's a lout and easily falls asleep. Only an alarm clock saves her, but no one can save Rod, who is hung in his sleep while rotting in a jail cell. Nancy's mom, Marge, Ronnie Blakely, who is married to Wim Wenders, sent back up on Dylan's Hurricane, and is also in Robert Altman's Nashville. Takes her to a sleep clinic where Dr. King, hey, there's Roger Rabbit, Charles Fleischer, tries to figure out her nightmares. To her mother's horror, she emerges from a dream holding Freddy's hat. Soon she reveals to her daughter that the parents of Elm Street got revenge on Freddy Krueger, a child murderer, after a judge let him go on a technicality. In a deleted scene, we also learn that Nancy and her friends lost a brother or a sister they never knew about. While Nancy is barred up in her house with new security measures, Glenn's parents won't let him see her. Soon he's asleep and is transformed into an overwhelming fountain of blood. Nancy falls asleep asking her father to come in 20 minutes. He doesn't listen. She pulls Freddy into our world. On the run, she screams for help until her father comes to her aid, just in time to watch a burning Freddy kill his ex-wife, and then they both disappear. This is an incredibly complex stunt where Freddy was set ablaze, chases Nancy up the stairs, falls back down and runs back up all in one take. It was at the time the most elaborate fire stunt ever filmed, and Anthony Cersei won an award for the best stunt of the year. Nancy then realizes something really important, that Freddy can't hurt her if she doesn't believe in him. She wakes up, and everyone's still alive, ready to go to school. As the convertible hood opens up, it is the color of Freddy's sweater. She realizes she's still trapped in the dream world. He drags her mother through a window, which is another effect that's really astounding here. It's just so bracing and quick. In Craven's original script, the movie simply ended on a happy note. Robert Shea wanted the twist ending to open the door, obviously, for a sequel, which is something Craven had no interest in. 4 different endings were filmed: Craven's happy ending, Shea's ending where Freddy wins, and 2 compromises between their ideas, and that's what we ended up with here. In the original A Nightmare on Elm Street, of course, nothing succeeds like an 80s slasher. And that led to the next one. Hey, if there's any surface noises or audio weirdness in this episode, I'm recording this with a small mic, again, in a hotel room. I'm not going to do a lot of editing. I just want to talk about these movies, get you into them, get you excited. If you're on the way to the drive-in, awesome. It's like we're talking about them. We'll talk at the drive-in. Come see me. I'll have drinks for all these movies. Anyway, let's get to Freddy's Revenge, a movie that was maligned at the time that it came out, with Wes Craven stepped aside and Jack Shoulder came in, and David Chaskin wrote it. This is his first script. Chaskin went on to write I, Madman, one of my favorite movies, and The Curse. Jack Shoulder did Alone in the Dark, the first New Line movie before the original Elm Street, and The Hidden. Those are 2 great movies, and movies that are sadly forgotten. Chaskin's theme for the film, which until the documentary Never Sleep Again, The Elm Street Legacy, he would always claim was just subtext, is that the main character, Jesse, played by Mark Patton, is coming to grips with being gay. Patton struggled with his anger over this film for years as he felt betrayed, as the filmmakers knew he was in the closet. Between this role and playing a gay teenager and Come Back to the Five and Dime, Jimmy Dean, he feared being typecast at best and labeled at worst. Yes, in 1985, this was the world we lived in. You can see the movie Scream Queen to learn more about its story. Chaskin claimed in an interview that Patton just played the role too gay, but Patton bristled at this claim. The emotional stress that the actor went through led him to quit acting and go into interior design. That said, Chaskin claims he has tried to reach out and apologize to the actor over the years. In Scream Queen, you can actually see Jack Shoulder talking about this and talking to him. Shoulder said he didn't have the self-awareness to think that the film had any gay subtext, but an unfilmed scene almost had Krueger slide a knife into Jesse's mouth. Makeup artist Kevin Yeager talked Patton out of filming that scene for the sake of his career. Years later, Patton would write Jesse's Last Journal, a series of diary entries that would set his feelings and his character straight, pardon the horrible pun. The sequel starts with a dream sequence in which Jesse Walsh, Patton, dreams of being stuck inside a school bus with Freddy at the wheel. Jesse's circle of friends include Lisa, who he's friends with but too shy to ask out, and Grady, Robert Rissler, sometimes they come back, a frenemy who seems more like a crush. Jesse has moved into Nancy Thompson's home, Bad Idea, which was on the market for 5 years until she was institutionalized and her mother killed herself. His family is Clu Gulger from Return of the Living Dead as his dad, Hope Lang from Death Wish is his mom, and a little sister that he bothers when she's trying to sleep. Lisa and Jesse discover Nancy's diary, which explains how ridiculous this house is to live in. It's always 97 degrees. Birds attack you before they spontaneously combust, and your parents accuse you of setting it up. Meanwhile, Jesse's dealing with all sorts of strangeness, like a sadistic gym teacher who really likes to go to punk clubs and get whipped. One night, a dream takes him to that bar, and the gym teacher makes him run laps in the middle of the night. The gym teacher is Marshall Bell, George from Total Recall, the host for Quato. Freddy possesses our hero, and the coach gets caught up in the shower. The cops find Jesse wandering the highway naked, which doesn't seem all that weird to his mom. Lisa and Jesse go to Freddy's lair in an abandoned factory, and then she has a pool party. Yes, I just wrote that sentence and said it. At the party, they kiss and have perhaps the most awkward makeout session ever until Freddy causes changes in Jesse's body. They make him run to Grady for help. Yes, he gets so upset about making out with a girl that he runs to his male crush, only to transform into Freddy, which is a pretty awesome practical effects sequence. It kills Grady. It returns to the pool party, one of the few times in the series that Freddy is in our world, and lays absolute waste to the partygoers before he's chased off by multiple shotgun blasts. Only Lisa's love and kisses can bring Jesse out of Freddy, but it's all for nothing. As the nightmare at the beginning becomes real and their school bus turns into a death trap, even though his friend Carrie, who has the best outfits in the movie, tries to calm them down, Freddy's claw emerges from her chest. And there's a lot to unpack, obviously, at the end of this movie. Can a woman's love save somebody from, pardon me, being gay? It's very strange. But it's very Italian, too, in its way. It feels like an off-brand sequel, especially as we get into the third movie. And you know what? I'm going to let Freddy Krueger talk about the third movie, so I'm not doing all the talking.
Why, thanks, Sam. You're tired. Why don't you go to sleep, bitch? After the much criticized second installment, I actually really enjoyed it. as it has a lot of European flair, and its subject matter seems like a middle finger in the face of teenage boys who would seem to be its biggest audience. Wes Craven returned to write the inspiration for this script, which was initially about the phenomenon of children traveling to a specific location to commit suicide. Think Japanese murder forests. Frank Darabont and Chuck Russell took that direction and convinced New Line that the series should go further into Freddy's dream world. The success of this film proved that A Nightmare on Elm Street would be a franchise, as this film made more than the first two movies put together. The team would go on to create 1988's remake of The Blob, before Darabont went into making Stephen King adaptations, and Russell would direct The Mask, The Scorpion King Collateral. Kristen Parker, Patricia Arquette, is obsessed with the abandoned house on Elm Street, which one assumes is the last house on the left, making papier-mâché sculptures, which makes for a tremendous compressed credit sequence, showing headlines of what has gone on before, and dreaming of Freddy chasing her. She awakens from her nightmare to discover that she's slicing her own wrists, as her mother, Elaine, Brooke Bundy, has to interrupt her sleepover date to save her daughter's life. Kristen ends up in Weston Hospital, run by Dr. Neil Gordon, Craig Wasson, body double, battling the orderlies and doctors who want to sedate her. Check out a young Lawrence Fishburne here as orderly Max Daniels. She's eventually helped by the new therapist, Nancy Thompson, who recites Freddy's nursery rhyme to her. Continuity be damned, Nancy's gray streak is now on the opposite side of her head. We meet the rest of the patients, who will soon become the Dream Warriors: Philip the Sleepwalker, Bradley Gregg, class of 1999, wheelchair-bound Will, Ira Hayden, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Streetwise, Kincaid, actress Jennifer, Penelope Sudrow, After Midnight, the silent Joey and Taryn, a former drug addict, Jennifer Rubin, who is also in a movie that totally rips off this one, Bad Dreams. The Dream Warriors is pure entertainment. Freddy moves toward being more of a joking character while transforming into a snake, a TV set, a gigantic puppet master, and even turning his fingers into drug-filled hypodermic needles. Kristen can pull the rest of the teens into her dreams, which they'll need as Freddy and all of their doctors are pretty much against them. Dr. Neil learns from Sister Mart Helena the true origins of Freddy, the bastard son of 100 maniacs, and how he can stop him. Enlisting Nancy's dad, John Saxon, returns. Neil digs up Freddy's bones, which are still deadly, while Nancy tries to save as many of the kids as she can within the dream world. This is probably the best New Mutants movie ever made. Much better than New Mutants. The film ends Nancy's saga, while setting things up for a new cast of characters to battle Freddy. At least, that's what you're supposed to think, as A Nightmare on Elm Street 4. The Dream Master pretty much wipes the slate clean within the first 10 minutes.
Well, so I guess I was ready for Freddy. Anyway, this is the fourth one, The Dream Master. You know, a lot of people write off the movies after the first three, but you know what? Part 4 slick and commercial as it gets, but that's kind of what we want at this point. Aren't we all wistful from movie theaters of 30 years ago and movies like Bad Dreams, the Chuck Russell remake of The Blob, Child's Play, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, Fright Night 2, Killer Clowns, Phantasm 2, Poltergeist 3, Pumpkinhead, so many others were all within the same year or two. This is a movie made for teenagers to eat in the same way that they ate pizza, devour it. And after the final battle in the last movie in the series, which should have been the last movie, Dream Warriors, Wes Craven wanted to end this. The original protagonist Nancy sacrificed herself to stop Krueger. The rest of the Dream Warriors have been released from the insane asylum and are back to being normal teenagers. However, Kristen, Tuesday night, replacing Patricia Arquette, believes that Freddy isn't dead, drawing Joey, Kincaid, and Kincaid's dog Jason into her dream, where they show her that Freddy's boiler is cold. There's a rift between his former friends, as the boys are seen as freaks and Kristen has joined the popular crowd, with her martial arts practicing boyfriend Rick, Andrus Jonas from sorority girls in the Slimeball Bowl-orama, as well as popular kids Alice, Sheila, and Debbie. Soon, Kincaid is killed in the junkyard from Dream Warriors, where Freddy comes back after a dog pisses fire on him. Yes, that really happens. Then Joey finds a naked girl swimming in his waterbed in a sequence that's glossy, ridiculous, and awesome. In equal matter, he's soon dead, and Kristen passes out when she finds out, bringing Freddy after her. She swears to get revenge, but once her mother gives her sleeping pills, she is felled by the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs. Yep. But she's able to give her dream powers to Alice, who's going to need them, because with each kill, Freddy gains the abilities and personalities of these dead friends. Sure, these movies will get much worse, but if you're looking for a film that'll make the middle of the night just fly past, you can't go wrong. I mean, I was surprised how much I like it. Isn't that the point? This movie is filmed with plenty of out there kill scenes and flip dialogue that finally makes Freddy the actual hero of this film. There's a girl who gets turned into a cockroach and smashed into a Roach Motel. There's a scene where Freddy shows the house all the victims on a soul pizza. Say what you will about Rennie Harlan. I mean, he's failed more than anybody in Hollywood, but this follow-up to Prison, which was his American debut, really takes the series into a surreal world, basing each of the kills on actual nightmares that he had, as well as crazy moments that push the film into meta territory when Alice goes from a movie theater into an actual movie while the rest of the cast is watching. The highest grossing movie in the series until Freddy vs. Jason. There's an all-star team of special effects artists. A soundtrack with Vinnie Vincent Invasion, Blondie, the Fat Boys, Are You Ready for Freddy? And an ending with a 20-foot-tall practical model of Freddy being destroyed by the souls of those taken. You can see Linnea Quigley show up briefly in that scene. And that is Friday night at the drive-in. I wonder what could be on Saturday night.
Has there ever been a better video box? Jeffrey Franken, James Lawrence, is a bioelectrical scientist who works at a power plant. His life in New Jersey was going so well until his fiancée Elizabeth's Patty Mullen father, J.J. Clark, gives him a lawnmower as a wedding present. It goes wild. Yes, really. And mows down Elizabeth. Anyone else would move on or kill themselves. Not Jeffrey. He gets into self-trepanation, drilling holes into his own skull to take the edge off, as well as eating dinner surrounded by all of Elizabeth's body parts that he could find. But hey, he knows circuits. So maybe he should leave New Jersey and go to New York City and kill sex workers to build his wife the perfect body. Because that's worked out so well in so many movies like The Brain that wouldn't die. Jeffrey rents all of Zorro's, Joseph Gonzalez girls, for one night, but gets second thoughts about giving them the super crack he's invented. They find it. They smoke it. They blow up real good. And now Jeffrey has to assemble a puzzle of bloody body parts to create the perfect new body for his fiancée. She's impressed, but angry at where the parts came from and that she slept with. And blown to pieces. Several clients before she got her memory back. This ends with a monster made of sex worker parts dragging an evil pimp to a dungeon and Jeffrey's head on another woman so that he and his bride can be in love forever. That's creative. Another trip into the hellish New York City of Frank Henenlotter. This was a movie that screamed at you in the horror department of your mom and pop video rental place. Literally, the box could talk. The movie that was inside more than lives up to the marketing. This has an awesome cast. Beverly Bonner shows up as Casey, the same character she played in Brain Damage, Basket Case, and Basket Case 2. Elizabeth's mother is Louise Lasser, the star of Mary Hartman. Horror host Zachary is the weatherman. The girls of Zorro are played by Kimberly Taylor, Bedroom Eyes 2. Charlotte J. Helmkamp, Playboy, December 1982. Playmate of the Month. Jennifer Delora, Leah Chang, Susan Napoli, Penthouse Pet of the Month. February 1986, a.k.a. Stephanie Ryan in mainstream movies and Carrie McKayan in adult films. Adult legend, Heather Hunter, Gittin Goading, Vicki Darnell, Sandy Colosimo, Kathleen Gotti, and Sonia Hensley. As for Spike the bartender, that's the awesome Shirley Stoller from The Honeymoon Killer.
You know how slashers go. You need to get the horny teens to wind up in a secluded place with some promise of sex and drug hijinks, an abandoned mental hospital. That's not frightening. It's a good place to screw. Of course, inside the walls of this old asylum, there's more than just a place to party hardy. There's also a deformed maniac who just so happens to be the attorney that split Final Girl Kiki's parents up and caused her mother to die a decade before. Again, in slashers, there are no coincidences. Everything has been ordained, as if by freakish fate. Now, the former attorney Mitch Hansen has become the coroner, a serial killer who uses surgical tools to wipe out anyone in his way. The dual roles of Kiki and her mother, Judy, are played by Patty Mullen, Penthouse Pet of the Month, for August 1986 and 1988's Pet of the Year. You may also remember her from playing the title role in Frankenhooker and being married to Joey Image, one of the drummers for the Misfits. However, Jane, one of the many friends of Kiki set up to die, as is the wont of the slasher, would grow up to be Kristen Davis. Yes, from Sex and the City. So, if you ever wanted to see her get her face sawed off, there's also a punk band played inside the asylum named Tina and the Tots. Tina is played by Ruth Collins, who was also in Witch Academy and was paid $100 extra to show her breasts. Because you know you can't have a slasher without them. Actually, you totally can. This was all written by Rick Marks, who also was behind the movies Taboo American Style 1, The Ruthless Beginning, Wanda Whips Wall Street, Blonde Justice No. 3, and Christie in the Wild. In case you didn't guess, those are all adult films. He also wrote Snapped for Chuck Vincent, Warrior Queen, a biography on WR late-night fixture Joe Franklin and the two Gore movies. Behind the camera, none other than Richard Friedman, Scared Stiff, Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. This movie is all over the place in tone and presentation, but if you rented it back in the late 1980s, it's pretty much a perfectly goofball slasher that would go well with a six-pack and pizza. You probably have much fonder memories than I do. After all, if you went and watched Blood-Sucking Freaks without seeing it through the lens of being 15 years old and landlocked in a small town, you probably wouldn't understand why people liked it either.
Beyond being a historian of exploitation films, Frank Henenlotter has made some outright insane movies, like Frankenhooker and Basket Case. What other kind of mad genius would hire horror host Zachary to be a worm named Aylmer, who creates drug-like relationships with his hosts while demanding to eat the brains of everyone they love? That blue phallic worm secretes a highly addictive hallucinogen directly into the brain, forcing Brian to leave behind his life, his girlfriend, and any hope of normalcy, all while being pursued by the old couple that had imprisoned the parasite, and who know way too much of his history, leading to some of the longest and most hilarious expository dialogue I've seen in a film. During the fellatio scene, yes, a woman puts Aylmer inside her mouth. The crew walked out, refusing to work on the scene. There's a great moment where Dwayne and Belial from Basket Case meet Brian on a train before he ends up killing his girlfriend. I realize that's a spoiler, but nothing can prepare you for this movie. It's truly one of a kind.
8 years after Basket Case, Dwayne Bradley and his brother Bilal are still alive despite falling out a window. They're kidnapped by Granny Ruth, played by Annie Ross, and are nursed back to health by her and her granddaughter Susan. Granny Ruth's home is filled with what others would call freaks, like Eve, a female version of Bilal, with whom he still falls in love, but Dwayne still hates his brother. He doesn't want to be surrounded by these people and their deformities. Their brothers are separated, but then reporters Marcy and Artie find them, wanting to bring them to justice. Bilal scars Marcy for life, kind of like freaks here, making her a freak just like him. On the night that Eve and Bilal finally make love, Dwayne tries to run away with Susan, only to learn that she's been pregnant for 6 years with the creature. He shoves her out a window, and sews Bilal back onto his body as the film ends. Well, there's more, but you need to see Basket Case 3, The Progeny. I'm sure that'll be coming up the drive-in sooner or later. So there you go. There's Two Nights at the Drive-In. I'd like to thank Freddy Krueger, 2 versions of him, okay one and a little better version of him, Vincent Price, the ghost of Carolyn D. Fonseca, whoever else is in this episode. Thanks for listening to it too. You are a joy, whoever you are, wherever you are. Remember, bnsaboutmovies.com, rating me at bnsaboutmovies at gmail.com. Come and see me at the drive-in. Let's talk movies.